everybody. So I like to be with the times, and I just heard Jeremiah announced that the theme of Community Manager is Appreciation Day. Advancement Day is self-care, so I decided I was going to change my first slide to remind you that self-care is the theme. January 27th, 2020. So what I'm going to do, 45% of community managers feel burnout. Majority of you guys in this room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pretty high level. We'll start with some definitions, why we're all here, and then move into strategies. Does that sound good? Okay. I'm feeling a little bit of the post-lunch-itis. How many of you guys were at CMX last year? Great. Be proud. And how many of you came to my talk last year? Okay. Get out. No, I'm just kidding. So you're going to see something very similar, but self-care is always a good reminder. So I figured what I would do is I would start out with definitions of what your overall well-being looks like. So your overall well-being is your physical health, your mental health, and your social health. And actually, the reason why it's this Venn diagram is they're actually all intertwined with each other. And I think a lot of times when we think about our well-being, we only think about our physical health. Or we'll make statements like, oh, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. But social health, which is your relationships, is also part of what your overall well-being is. So, what is mental health? I looked up the definition, and according to the World Health Organization, your mental health is a state of well-being in which a person realizes their own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to their community. So when you have good mental health, that means you're investing in your personal development, you have positive and respectful relationships, you can identify and manage your own emotions, you're able to communicate effectively, and ultimately this kind of leads to better quality of life. So one of the things that can impact your mental health the most is what I call stress. And stress is what happens first. And stress leads to anxiety, which leads to overwhelm, which leads to burnout. And if I had an opportunity to make a new slide, it would kind of show you the progression of kind of what it takes for you to get to that feeling of burnout. And the truth is, the solution to stress is self-care. So if we can start self-care at the beginning of that kind of trajectory, then we'll be able to kind of help manage our mental health. So why do you need self-care? In the unlikely, and I put this up, has this been mentioned before, the oxygen mask during CMX? Yes? No? Or some people are familiar with it. So whenever you fly a plane, the flight attendant at the beginning will say, in the unlikely event of an emergency, fit your own oxygen mask first before attending to children or dependents or other people. And so when we think about self-care, we need to tend to ourselves first before we can serve our communities, right? So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're feeling burnt out, how do you feel like you can show up for your community? The benefits of self-care: capacity to manage stress, you're increasing your resilience, reduce symptoms of mental health conditions. And if you have self-care strategies or you have a good self-care practice, you're able to enjoy your life more, you're able to approach things with a fresh perspective and be more positive and be more confident and have a better sense of balance and career satisfaction. So, to be honest, I want to go back here because I want to talk about if anyone knows what the definition of self-care is. Does anyone know? You can popcorn it out to me. Silence. But we all know we need it, right? I wrote it down. So, and this is very easy. I should have put this on a slide as well. Self-care is intentional time taken to nurture yourself. That's it. Mentally, physically, emotionally, intentional time. And I want to stress that self-care is intentional. So it's not just going to happen automatically. You actually have to be really intentional about it. So here's the oxygen mask again. So what are some of the challenges to self-care? And you can popcorn these out. Why aren't you practicing self-care? Time? What's that? Family demands. Other people's requirements on your time. Expectations. Check out my awesome slide. I'm sorry, every single time I see this, I kind of laugh because it is what it is. So some of these blue boxes are what you guys mentioned. So we'll start. Time/competing priorities. I don't have time for self-care. The perceived value. Oh, like I'm not feeling relaxed right away. I still feel really burnt out. Like, what's the point? It's not part of your routine already. These next two, the superhero mindset and the care mindset. I'm a superhero. I don't need to take care of myself. Care mindset, I can go out and I need to serve everyone else. I don't care about me. And then this last one, kind of a hard one. I mean, we're all community professionals here. A workplace or a lack of support within our workplaces to give us the time to take care of ourselves. Remember that self-care is intentional time that you are taking to nurture yourself. So all of that said, again, self-care is intentional time. I'm just going to repeat that so many times so that when you leave here, you remember that self-care is intentional. Self-care needs to be proactive, and it needs to be focused on your well-being. So remember the three, it needs to be your physical health, your mental health, and your social health. And it needs to be practiced on the macro and micro levels. Does anyone know what the difference is between macro self-care and micro self-care? Do you want to know? Does someone say no? Okay, so when we think about macro self-care, and I'm going to inch over to my notes again, but macro self-care is kind of like what we hear in the news. It's this commoditized, it's super expensive. Go take that spa day, go sign up for that yoga class, go buy that Equinox membership, go on that week-long vacation, go on a cruise, go to Burning Man, which I just came back from. All of those cost money, right? And you're like, I don't have money to go spend a week in self-care time. Micro self-care are things that you can do on demand, and you can do them anytime. So what I'm going to show you, so both are important. You do need the vacation, but you can also go and take a walk around the block. And so what I'm going to show you are kind of what I call micro self-care strategies that, again, you can do on demand and at any time. So as I was doing research for this, I realized that self-care actually has multi-dimensions. So in each one of these 6 categories, you can practice self-care. So I'm going to read them out to you in case the slide is a little hard to read. So there's self-care for your body, for your mind, your spirit, your emotions, social self-care, which is kind of fits into that social health category, and work self-care. Whoever thought that you could have self-care at work? And then if you need a little bit more support to figure out what areas of your life you need more self-care in, I included a bit.ly/self-care snapshot that allows you to take a quiz to see what areas you can use a little bit more self-care in. And that is just some random resource that I found on the internet, so if it's not helpful to you, don't blame me. All right, so we're going to go into each one of these. So the difference with this talk compared to probably some of the other ones is I am going to get you to kind of like move around and participate if you would like. If you don't like, you can get out. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't like, that's okay as well. So whatever feels most comfortable to you. So within body self-care, this is what I would call your physical health, right? So it's what does your diet look like? If you consume alcohol, is it socially? Is it in excess? Maybe not at this conference, or maybe at this conference it is in excess. Are you exercising? Are you going out for a walk? Are you running? Like, what does that routine look like? And then finally, are you getting enough sleep? No. How many of you feel like you're getting enough sleep? A little bit of scattered. So we have 10 minutes left, so we're just going to take a 10-minute nap right now. So if you'd like to, I'm just kidding. So I'll show you kind of like 2 body self-care strategies. And have you guys done any stretches here at CMX yet? All right. So if you would like, stand up. And if you would not like, that's fine too. And we're just going to, and for those of you who see my splint, it's a very old injury and it doesn't hurt, so it's okay. So we're just gonna raise our arms up and lean back, as far back, and then lean forward. Lean to your left. Is this left? You can mirror me, and then lean to your right. And don't forget to breathe. My friend Nat here is in the front, and she does a lot around wellness. So if you kind of need like something after this, you can go to her as well. And then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to breathe in and raise our shoulders, and then exhale and roll them back. Breathe in and raise your shoulders, and then exhale and roll them back. Do you want to do one more? Okay, breathe in and raise your shoulders. Exhale and roll them back. It's always funny because when I get the pictures from these, I'm like doing really weird things. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is has anyone seen the people doing Tai Chi? And for people who have been to my talk before, we're just going to swing our arms around. Your arms are just really heavy. You can hit the person next to you if you want. That's how you'll say hi. But what you're doing is actually what this does is you're kind of like loosening your spine, but your body is heavy. You're kind of just, relaxing. And I apologize, this is going to be like the micro version of the micro self-care strategies because I do want to get through all of them, but that's just an example. Like, if you're in the middle of a meeting, just get up and start swinging your arms around. And if you already do that in meetings, please invite me. All right, so next is the mind. Again, when we think about the mental health overall well-being diagram, this kind of fits into your mental health. So the first icon is kind of like, do you have a morning and an evening routine, which kind of helps you ground your day? Are you journaling? Are you spending time reflecting? And then I actually really like this last one. What this last icon means is how are you talking to yourself? What is your internal dialogue telling you? Is it telling you that you're great, or is it saying more negative things, unfortunately? And there is a book that I have been recommended that I read called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And within that book, he kind of talks about how the voice in our head, if that person were our friend, we would not be friends with that person. Because they're like, oh, why am I at this talk? Why did I just swing my arms around? Who's that person up there? Why should I listen to her? But you should listen to me. I'm just kidding. So what I'm going to do is there's something called the 5-minute journal. And has anyone done the 5-minute journal before? So it's kind of just like 3 prompts at the beginning and at the end of the day, but I'm just going to propose one of the 3 prompts at the beginning of the day for you, even though we're in the middle of our day. And if you have a writing utensil or something, you can just take some time to write it down, and I'll give you like a minute or so to do it. But the first one is to complete this sentence. I am grateful for ... I am grateful for. And does anyone want to popcorn some things out to me about what they're grateful for? Your cats. What else? Your health. Oh, wonderful. What part of your health? Your physical health, your emotional health, your physical health. Anyone else? What are you grateful for? Caffeine. I'm grateful for caffeine as well. I'm grateful for the beautiful weather that we have in Redwood City today. I'm grateful that I get to be up here talking about you. I'm grateful that CMX thought that self-care was important enough to include on the agenda. Snaps all around for that. Then the second is what would make today great? What would make today great? Or what has already made today great? Do you want to popcorn some things out to me? Not thinking of work so much, but you're at a work conference. I get it. I will say that technology has extended our working day and caused us actually more stress, and it's blurred the lines between our work and our life. What else? What would make today great? So Look at this woman at the front. Whatever you can do to get her mind off of work, let's all kind of rally together and make sure that we're able to help her accomplish that. What else? What would make today great? Yes? Human connection. Human connection. So I am an introvert, so please tweet at me, and I will always respond. And after this talk, I may run away, but you can chase me. um, anyone else? What would make today great? I think someone back here. Yes. Yoga. Yoga. Nat, do you do yoga? Okay. Come find Nat later, and maybe you guys can do a couple stretches together. Anyone else? All right. And the third is finish this phrase. I am ... I am. And do you want to popcorn to me what you are? I am tired. Anyone else feel like that? I am tired. Anyone else? I am sore. Okay, can we get some positive words as well? Yes. I am hardworking. I am grateful. Beautiful. Beautiful. What'd you say? I am always down for karaoke. I am also always down for karaoke. All right. So the next one is what I call spiritual mental health. And for those of you who are rooted in religion, really at the core of religion, if you are religious, is this idea of community, a place of going home, a place of feeling grounded, and a place of community gathering. But really what it is to me, for those of you who aren't as religious, it's just where do you go to find your inner peace? And so I included these other icons on here. So the second one is really around kind of getting out into nature. I just spent the week at Burning Man, and to watch a sunrise, incredible. Sunsets never get old. Going to Land's End and just looking out at the water and how vast it is, beautiful. And this last one is volunteering. So what are you doing to give back? Or what are you doing to serve communities that don't look like your own? And in my own work, so I am disabled, and so I'm a beneficiary of the work that I do, but I am using whatever privilege I have to pay it forward and support my community as well. And that is super meaningful to me. And so, yeah. And so what I'm going to do here, has anyone heard of something called alternate nostril breathing? Yes. Okay, so we're going to do some alternate nostril, and who hasn't heard of alternate nostril breathing? Okay, so for those of you who just can't, are too fidgety to just sit and breathe, I'm going to walk you through kind of a guided meditation very briefly because I only have a couple minutes left. But what you do is you're going to have your pointer, so you're going to use your right hand if you can. So you're going to mirror me because I can't use my right hand. And you're going to have your pointer and your ring finger, and you're going to put them in between your eyebrows. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your ring finger and your thumb on either side of your nostril. And I wish I could take a picture because you guys look great and I look great as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to put pressure on your ring finger to close your left nostril. And I see someone taking a picture. Are you taking a picture of me or you? Just kidding. And what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in through your thumb nostril, and then you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds, you're going to hold both nostrils closed for 4 seconds, and then you're going to breathe out of your other nostril. So we're only going to do this a couple times because it's the micro self-care. So remember, so ring finger holding down the left nostril. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold both, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out of the ring finger, 3, 4. Inhale through that one, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out of the thumb, 3, 4. Inhale in the thumb, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out of that one. And that is was that tough? Yeah, so 4, 4, 4. Just remember that. Then there's emotions, your emotional self-care. So this is what emotional self-care is. Emotional self-care is acknowledging the validity of your emotions when you're feeling them. So the human experience is to be happy and to be sad and everything in between. And so I think that sometimes we place a hierarchy on how we're feeling because we're like, oh, I'm around all these other people at CMX and they're all really happy, but I'm sad. What's wrong with me? But there is nothing wrong with you because the human experience is to be able to experience all of that. So what I want you guys to do, if you would like, is get out your phones and post to the hashtag an emoji of how you are feeling. And then I will respond to you afterward based on your emojis. So I'm just going to run through the last two areas of self-care because I have 10 seconds. So social health care, as I've mentioned before, ties into your social health. It's your relationships. It's having hobbies outside of work. It's what does your support system look like outside of work. So with this, I know you guys are at CMX, but maybe look at other people who have posted emojis. If there's one that you don't really understand, respond to that person, connect with them, maybe better understand why they're feeling that way. And then finally, there's work self-care, which is, do you feel like you have a support system at work? Are you working reasonable hours? Turn off the technology, turn off the social media. And then do you feel like you have a path for development within your work as well? So I would challenge you while you're here to look at something on the agenda that will force you probably out of your comfort zone or to learn something new that will further propel your professional or your personal relationships. Sorry, career. Further propel your professional or personal career wherever you want to go. And so I will close by saying that self-care is non-negotiable. Self-care is a sign of respect for yourself. And feel free to take a picture of this. One person posted to Twitter. If there was more time, I'd love for you to kind of take a look at these 6 areas of self-care and determine 2 strategies within 2 different ones of these that you want to practice more self-care in. And think about what are the barriers that are holding you back? What do you need to overcome them? What's a first small step that you can take? And maybe there's someone here who can help hold you accountable. And finally, these are some of the resources that were shared throughout the presentation. There are, texts and apps that can help you meditate. I think, take the self-care snapshot. If you'd like to share the results with me, I'd love to see them. But start small. And I want you all to stand up because you're going to give me a standing ovation anyway. But I want you to give a high five to someone else who was here. So stand up and give someone a high five. And you want to know why you're giving them a high five? Because you showed up and you spent 20 minutes to actually focus on yourself. So thank you for focusing on yourself.